Hello, it's Marika Lake here and welcome back to my channel. I live on the west coast of Australia with my hubby Greg and our 5 kiddos. I have William who's in grade 9, Emily's in grade 5, Cruz is in grade 3, Jackson is grade 1 and baby Jay is just 2 months old. And here in the Lake House Homeschool, we have been homeschooling now for 5 years. In today's video, I'm going to talk about socialization. Now, when I first started homeschooling 5 years ago, this was mainly the number one question that people asked me about how I was going to homeschool my children is, what are you going to do for socialization? I don't know why it's such a big question and a big focus and a big worry that people have when you homeschool your children, that they're not going to be around other kids and they're not going to have a social life. Well, I'm here to tell you that my children actually have a bigger social life now than what they did when they were at school, and they've got a bigger social life than me. And so I thought in today's video that I would share with you all of the things that I do or we do in our family to help our kids with socialization. So I've got my trusty notebook here and I basically just did an idea dump of all the things that we do in our house. So I will be reading from my notebook. Now, all of these ideas that I'm sharing with you today are just ideas, and these are things that we do in our homeschool and these work for us. I'm sure there's plenty of other ideas out there, but I'm just sharing with you from my experience about how we go keeping our kids connected with other children. Okay, so the first one I've got here is that we belong to a social group who meets weekly. And so when I first started homeschooling, I started homeschooling and a bunch of families that I knew, probably maybe about 4 families that I knew, we all started homeschooling at the same time. So we created our own group and we made a Facebook like a private Facebook group for it so that we could add other people to it. And we decided that we were going to meet weekly at a playground or a beach around our local area. And it was just an opportunity for us to get together and connect socially. So the children can come together and play together, and then us as homeschool parents could get together as well and have a catch up. And we were going to meet at the same time every week, but different locations around our city. And then on the Facebook page, somebody, whoever was in charge, she would just create the event, say, this is where we're going to be meeting this week, at what time and at what place. And then as we met more homeschoolers, we added them to that group, and people found us on Facebook and asked to be added to that group. And now it's quite a big group, and it is still going 5 years later. And my children absolutely love that group. It meets on Tuesdays and they're always looking forward to Tuesday group when they can get together with their friends and have some fun together. And so I just encourage you to find a group like that that's in your area, or if you can't find a group like that, then make your own group, which is what we did. So if you know a handful of families, or even if you don't, you could create your own group, pop it onto Facebook, join homeschooling groups in your area and advertise, hey, I'm going to be at this playground every Tuesday. Why don't you come along and let's meet each other and hang out together. So if you can't find a group, then I encourage you to create your own group. It's also important to invite other children over to your home so that you can help your children connect more with friends. And so it's great showing up to say that Tuesday group so that your children can play with other children. But if they're new to the group, they might find it hard to enter in and start really making friendships with other children. So you can't just, rock up to the group and say, okay, off you go and play, and good luck. You actually, as a parent, need to probably provide some help or some scaffolding with them. So what I did in the beginning was, when we made a new friend, was to invite that friend and their family over to our house, and as mums or as parents, we can connect over a cup of coffee and afternoon tea, and the children can have some one-on-one playtime together in the home. And that sometimes just helps to if you just get in that smaller environment and kind of on home ground, it helps children to connect one-on-one with each other. And so as they, you do that a couple of times, they become more comfortable with each other. And then when they see each other at the big, meetup group, they've got a friend that they can connect with, and then can play with all the other person's friends. And so sometimes children will need help with their connecting and with their socializing. So don't just rock up to that, big social group and think that's going to fix all of your problems. If your children are finding it hard to connect with other children, then I encourage you to set up smaller play dates, whether it's at another park, or if you want people to come into your home, or you want to meet up somewhere else. It's just a good idea to organize those one-on-one play times for your children, just to help them to connect in that way. And then you can connect as parents as well, and hopefully that will lead to a really great relationship where you can catch up weekly, or even start taking care of your children while the other parent has some time off and things like that. So do encourage you to, as the parent, to really help your children connect by setting up those one-on-one play dates. Another good idea to help with meeting new people in the homeschool world is actually joining some homeschool classes. And so what we did, we joined a homeschool sports class that we would attend every week. And then that is another really great opportunity to meet more people in your area who are homeschooling. You can then obviously connect with them at the class when you go, or if you would like to pursue more friendships, you can do what I was talking about before, where you can actually start inviting people out to the playground or over for play dates, and friendships can start in that way too. So there are a lot of homeschool classes out there nowadays. There's often art classes that you can go to, sports classes and things like that. So that's another great place to meet and connect with other children who are homeschooling, is by attending a homeschool class. If you have a group of people who you know are homeschooling, another great idea is to gather a small group together and actually do lessons together. So this is what we did and still do every Friday. We gather together with a small group of families who homeschool, and sometimes we just hang out socially, but most of the time we actually are doing some work together. And so each year we kind of pick something different, but say we might decide to do science lessons together. So every week we gather together and we do science lessons together. And of course that makes the learning so much more fun as well when you are doing it with your friends. And it's just another point in our week where the children are connecting with other children. We don't just do all our lessons on our own at home, but we actually join in with other people and do some group work and do lessons together. So we kind of created our own little co-op group as parents, which is really informal, but just another great opportunity for our children to be together and learning together as well. And the other things we do here in our homeschool to connect, to keep my children connected, is we belong to extracurricular sports. So my daughter does dancing and my two boys do soccer. And so every week they are going to practice or to training, and then they have the boys have their games on Saturday. So that's another place for them to connect with their friends. And then my boys actually have their friends on their soccer team, and so often they'll go and play soccer and then go home, to somebody's house after the soccer game for more fun on a Saturday. So that's another great way to keep children connected, and also connected with children who aren't necessarily homeschooling. So if it's an after school sports program, which is run after school times, and obviously there'll be school children there as well. So it's another great way to keep your children connected with children who aren't homeschooled, that are still in the school system as well. So that's another great idea. Another thing we do is our children go to youth group. Now my church where we go has its own youth group, but before our church had its own youth group, we would just go to another church's youth group. And my kids lived for youth group. They absolutely love it. They love hanging out at youth group on Friday night. So that's another great place to get connected with children and children who are at school in a great fun and safe environment, is attending our youth group, and also Sunday school. We go to church too. And so our kids are connecting at that place as well. And then here in our house, we are super lucky. We have lots of children who live on our street. I think we've got about 5 families who live on our street with children, and they all play together. And we are also lucky enough that 3 of those families, so there's 3 of us all together, actually homeschool. And so during the homeschool day, my children will get to play with their friends when they've all done their schoolwork. So that's just another great place for them to connect, is actually having children in their own neighborhood, and for us it's on our street. And I know I'm very lucky. I know not everybody has that opportunity. They don't have children who live on their street, but we do, and we've made the effort as parents to connect with one another, and therefore the children are allowed in each other's homes. And so it's just great. My front door is always opening and closing, and children are coming and going. They help themselves to the food in my house. They love on my dog and my baby, and it's just such a beautiful community that we've created on our street, and I'm so thankful for that. So I just encourage you, if there are other children living on your street, help your children to connect with those children. And so there's lots of play dates happening after school hours and on the weekend. And so, yeah, we love all the families who live on our street. So there you have it. There are just some of the things that we do here in the Lake House Homeschool to keep our children connected with other children and in relationship with other children. I hope you found these ideas helpful, and I just encourage you to be really proactive in this area. If you find that your children are lacking the social aspect, or you're looking for new homeschool friends, is that you really need to be active in that process too. A good place to find groups is on Facebook. There's often lots of, I know for us here where we live, we have lots of, area chats, homeschoolers in this area. And so I just look for homeschool groups in that way, and you can reach out in those groups and start seeing if there's anybody around you who would like to connect, and then just make that effort of inviting people into your home, or inviting them to come and play with you at a playground or something like that, where you give your children, time to connect one-on-one, and then you can connect as families as well, and then start doing stuff together as a family. That will really help your children in learning to make friends and maintain relationships. I hope that you found this video helpful. If you have any questions at all, or if you've got any ideas about what you do that you would like to leave a comment in the comments box down below, so that you can share your ideas with other people who might be watching that video, feel free to do that. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.